Don Williams again for the Institute of Sports and Spines. Today we're doing a demonstration of our body fat analysis system. We use BodyMetrics body fat analysis system at Institute of Sports and Spines. It's an ultrasound based analysis system, so the ultrasound wand effectively looks like this, that we can measure a whole host of sites throughout the body using height and weight, which we measure on other instruments, and girths. We can then give a range of metrics that allow people to track, measure their weight, their percentage body fat, their zones throughout the body of body fat, and their girths. So that gives them a range of metrics to assess and follow their weight loss goals and performance and fitness goals. Essentially, when we are using a BodyMetrics system, we don't need to be too concerned about people's hydration levels, caffeine, alcohol intake, sweating, and other variables that can affect the bioimpedance systems. There's no ionizing radiation, as in DEXA scans, and the clinical research has shown that the results that we get from the BodyMetrics system are comparable to DEXA and underwater weighing, which are the gold standards for body fat composition testing. So when we are doing our analysis at Institute of Sports and Spines, we use a 7-site formula from Jackson and Pollock. The reason we use a 7-site formula is it allows us to compare directly zone for zone on males and females. Now, if we did the 7-site formula throughout the body and the skin folds were all identical, females will still come up with a higher percentage body fat. And that's based on the fact that females have a higher percentage of fat or a thicker layer of fat that surrounds their internal organs, particularly the reproductive organs. But by using a 7-zone formula, we standardise our testing across males and females. And for males and females that want to directly compare or look at sites through the body and kind of compete against each other, it allows them to look at the thickness of those sites. And there's not a higher level, so there's 9 and 11 site formulas that you can use on males, but there's not really 9 and 11 site formulas for females. As a result, we just use the 7-site formula. We're going to show you a demonstration of just one zone very shortly, but before we do that, I just thought I'd go through the zones that we use in the body. So in the Jackson and Pollock formula, you measure the chest, the stomach, the hip, the axilla or under the armpit, behind the tricep, in the front of the thigh, and just underneath the shoulder blade or beside the shoulder blade. We also do our girths with this nifty little tape measure. It basically measures circumferences, and track and measure these on the report as well. So we do the neck, chest, waist, hip, thigh, calf, upper and lower arm. And we can also do the upper and lower arms on both sides. So if we were looking at people who may have a difference or an imbalance or asymmetry, then we can assess both sides. Jana has joined me for the next section here just to demonstrate the simple process of actually taking a reading on a segment of the body. We're just going to demonstrate this on the thigh. So easier for us not to change down for the demonstration. So the thigh point is taken halfway between the knee and the hip in the midpoint of the thigh. So we've got some ultrasound gel on the tip of the probe, and Jan's just going to demonstrate the technique of taking a reading. So essentially we just scan the area initially to distribute gel, and just with gentle even pressure we just scan through the zone, and that gives us our readings. This shot just shows you what happens on the screen as we're going through the readings on someone. We normally would take 2 attempts, and if there's conflict with the data, it'll ask us for a 3rd attempt as we're scanning through the thigh. So we've come up with a reading there of 81 millimetres for my thigh. When we've completed all our measurements, we can formulate a report. The report is about 6 pages. It can vary a little bit from person to person, and it gives you a whole bunch of metrics and lets you track them. So as you can see by this, we show a percentage body fat. Where it is numerically, it gives you some information about percentage body fat and then shows you where that is on the scale diagrammatically of low fat, healthy, high fat and obese. We also get a rating of the weight and the makeup of what that weight is, so whether there's estimated water, what the fat-free mass will be, and the healthy fat volume or percentage. Also get a BMI rating. Now mind that BMI is a rating that will get thrown off quite badly in athletes. So you can get athletes who are quite muscular that have a low percentage body fat, and because their weight is high, because remember that muscle is denser than fat, so henceforth heavier, they will show a high BMI although they may have a low percentage body fat. And this is why we use multiple measurements, multiple metrics, so that we can track these things and identify when people are losing fat versus losing body weight. And that can also show us when people are reducing in girths but their weight is increasing because their lean muscle mass or muscle is increasing. In this system there's also a BMR calculator, so your basal metabolic rate, and this is basically calculated from the activity levels that you do during the day. So we will look at this on basically calculated from, and we help people calculate this with a questionnaire that shows them where they're doing light exercise, no exercise, heavy or extended or all-out training, or exceptionally heavy type exercise activities. It has relative risks of different diseases and health recommendations. We can track trends, so over a period of time when people come in from time to time to get their measurements done, we often suggest that at about a 6-weekly basis. Then we can track that and show them how they're progressing with their weight, with their percentage body fat, and the point thicknesses. Now the plus is with this system, if we're getting errors coming up with points being way different to the previous readings, then we would normally suggest that could indicate there's been an error in the reading, so we can improve our accuracy and reliability by looking at outliers and reproducing those tests. We also track waist-hip ratio trend, which is not a bad predictor for probabilities of heart disease, and we can track the circumference trends. And then other thoughts and recommendations that we may suggest from Institute of Sports and Spines. So that gives you a brief insight into how the body metrics system works and how we track and measure people's body composition at Institute of Sports and Spines. Thanks again for watching.